types and styles of play. But you mentioned there that the field was the way it was. I hark back for the nostalgia of the mid to late 90s when there was hoardings up because stands were being built and the fields were an absolute shite because there was like construction workers walking across them during the week and stuff. I kind of like that. And when we didn't have Jack Grealish in the field today, yeah, I was okay with it looking like there was a herd of sheep in there all week. So that was fine for me. And it may have stifled Leeds, and their ability to attack at pace, but we didn't care once we got our first goal, our only goal, once we got the goal so early, we didn't care. It allowed us to sit in our bank of five nearly in midfield, and when you've got Ollie Watkins up front, Ollie Watkins can be a handful for four defenders on his own. His work rate is fantastic, and that was a sweet win today. Like statistics wise and everything, we had no right to win that game. All we did was we had one fortuitous moment, we took it, and Leeds were a bit blunt in attack, but we were every bit the measure of them with the likes of Nakamba in the middle of midfield.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's a game that we've seen a few times maybe this season where Villa have managed to get themselves ahead 1-0 and quite happy to just sit there and say to the opposition, come on then, let's see what you've got. I do think the pitch probably played a part in Leeds coming forward. It definitely played a part in us going forward as well. But I felt like we were quite comfortable. I don't remember really Martinez having to make a save. He came and dealt with a few crosses, set pieces. I mean, he's excellent at doing that, catches everything. But Leeds never really put us under any massive pressure. If anything, in the first half, I felt like we would get the second goal because El Ghazi, he was back to the El Ghazi that we had around Christmas time before we went into that enforced COVID break. He was absolutely whacking everything on goal, head down, running. He was absolutely brilliant in the first half in particular.
When I saw the team sheet, I have to admit, I looked at it and I went, I'm with Dan again. It's going to be 4-3-3 again, and it's going to be El Ghazi and Bertrand Traore, and we're going to be worried about Ahmed El Mohammadi, and we're just going to be really, really open against a team we can't afford to be open against. And it couldn't have been more opposite. Absolutely could not have been more opposite to that. The likes of McGinn, the likes of Ramsey. I just love Jacob Ramsey.
He's so good.
He does the right thing all the time. He must be a coach's dream. Like to have a 19-year-old kid like that can do a little flair thing. He's played a little ball down between the centre half and the left back at one stage to El Ghazi there just early in the second half. It was beautiful. But El Ghazi was fantastic. He was tracking back. He was a handful for Ayling out there on the right hand side, and he just looked like he's the epitome of confidence player. He really is. And I actually struggle to think of another player in the league that is more predicated on confidence. His performance is more predicated on confidence than El Ghazi at the moment. And there was an interesting stat as well that Bielsa managed him at Leeds. I completely forgotten about that. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. So maybe El Ghazi might be one of these guys who needs to get up for games and needs to have a chip in his shoulder, to perform. But well done to him today. The goal was taken well because I'm not sure that Watkins was even shooting for that. I don't know what he was doing.
Here's a shot. He fell over.
Yeah, I suppose it really is.
Yeah.
And actually, going back to Jacob Ramsey, in the build-up to the goal, he does unbelievably well to recycle it. Like, how many players there have the ball, they're going backwards, and they try and maybe clip one in with their left foot when, in that position, and they end up falling back, and the ball goes up and over the crossbar, and it doesn't even threaten as a cross. But he had the presence of mind to get stable, turn around and lay the pass back to Ollie Watkins at the edge of the area. He just does the right thing all the time, Jacob Ramsey, and El Ghazi was the beneficiary of that then afterwards.
Yeah, he's a very, very intelligent player, Ramsey. I was pleased to see him come in today, to be honest, because it's only his second start. He's coming away at Wolves and away at Leeds, which are tough places to go, tough games, but he shows maturity, like you say, the decisions that he makes on the pitch. I think he's tactically very good as well. I remember when Luiz got sent off against Wolves and he had to drop into being a deep line midfielder in a 2 because of obviously with us being down to 10 men, and I was thinking, I think Ramsey's quite an attacking midfielder. I'm not sure about this, but he handled it with ease and was actually running it from deep for the brief time we had 10 men as well. So he's a really intelligent player. And El Ghazi, 7 goals this season from a limited amount of starts. I mean, that's a very, very good return. You've mentioned Nakamba as well, and suddenly Villa's recruitment in the last 2 summer windows is looking excellent, because you go back to Nakamba this time last year, we were saying, not sure, I can't see him doing it long term. I don't think it's the answer. Every time he's played this season, we've kept a clean sheet and we've won more often than not. Obviously, we had the 0-0 at home to Burnley, but Nakamba's come in, and I think we've got not a problem because it's a great thing to have. But I actually think he has to play now because every time he's come in, we've done very well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He had, I think there was some ridiculous stat in the first half. He had 4 interceptions in the first half. We only strung together something like, I think I saw 66 passes, and Nakamba only had something like 15 touches, if I remember rightly. I had it written down here somewhere. 15 touches in the first half, and of those 15 touches, 4 of them were interceptions. So, like, that's ridiculous. 1 in 3 times he touched the ball, he was intercepting the ball. I said 1 in 4 times nearly, he was intercepting the ball. And I suppose that plays to the fact that, like, we went to Elland Road there today not to be entertainers, and I think I think that's fair enough to say. But the fact that we played there with we went there and played a 4-3-3, which both of us have been super critical on here previously. I think it's just shown that Smith sees something in that 4-3-3, especially, as a kind of a secondary tactic. I think when Jack comes in, we don't play 4-3-3 anymore. But as a secondary tactic that we can play that. And I think it's just that he was obviously trying to find the right personnel for it. It's like I think I think everybody was a bit kind of I know you kind of have to wonder, why was Douglas Luiz dropped again? A lot of people were saying, look, maybe we dropped McGinn as opposed to Douglas Luiz because the mileage that McGinn
I
has
thought
gone through.
McGinn was good today. Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah, so did I. Absolutely, so did I. I thought he was so solid. Um, Am I right in saying that all of our midfielders were left-footed as well? Is Jacob Ramsey, I think,
Yeah.
is
No, Ramsey's
left-footed?
right-footed, but you
Is
wouldn't
he?
know at times. Yeah, he's very
Yeah.
good with both feet.
Yeah, so but Nakamba was fantastic, yeah. And it's not even the positional sense, because at the end of last season when Douglas Luiz came in there and played that position, it was really his positional sense and being there and protecting the D in front of the goals, as you call it. That was the real kind of plus point that he gave us. But Nakamba kind of likes to move around as well, and he kind of. Tyler Roberts got very frustrated. I think in the first half of the game, he was there. He was trying to get in around it, and he was trying to be that link man for Bamford. And, like, I can't remember Bamford having a touch of the ball, and it's because we nullified the link play from wide. Helder Costa was probably their poorest player today, and when Jack Harrison came on, he wasn't much better, So we nullified their wide play, and we made sure that Nakamba stood down on the pivot at the top. And Bamford was pretty ineffectual, He didn't get any service. He didn't get any play from the ball. Our two centre halves. Actually, one thing I did notice with regards to that as well was that El Mohammadi, Kanza and Mings, you could almost have thrown a blanket over them. They were really, really close and compact throughout the course of the game. And it gave me a small bit of a fright at times, because you could see that Rafinha was out there, and the click was overloading out on that side. But whenever they got the ball out there, even though Traore didn't do much in an attacking sense, he was running back like mad, and he was back. He's tracking back today was the best I've seen.
Yeah,
He
really
wasn't
good.
Probably our worst player, wasn't in the game with the ball at his feet, but put in a great shift today and played the full 90 minutes, which I was surprised with. But look, he was fantastic, and he showed his worth as a defender as well today, helping out El Mohammadi.
I think the sign of a good team away from home is when the camera's panning round the Leeds players. You're saying about Bamford being ineffectual. They all looked frustrated, the Leeds players. They all looked, not rattled, they all looked frustrated. Villa were taking the sting out of the game. We were taking our time over free kicks when we won them, goal kicks, things like that. And it was just not a shithouse performance. I don't really know a better way to describe it, but do you know what I mean? We were very clever, very cute in what we were doing. It helped, obviously, to get that early goal and go 1-0 up. If you don't get the early goal and you don't go 1-0 up, it's a different game that you don't see Villa play in that way, I don't think. But we were quite happy to win 1-0, quite happy to frustrate and slow Leeds down. Do you think in some ways there were lessons learned from the first game?
Oh, big style. Absolutely big style. I do think Matt Targer put in a shithouse performance. I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
I thought he probably should have got the road. There was a couple of ones. Look, I know they weren't massive fouls, but he was leaving something on. He was leaving something on people whenever he went in there. And look, we've been criticised for being too nice a team at times,
I've
and for
definitely said that.
Absolutely, and maybe not roughing players up. I thought Watkins showed a bit of a nasty side to him today. He went over, he tried to drag up Llorente off the ground when Llorente rolled around, and look, it was a tackle from behind. But I think Watkins maybe he knew that he didn't tackle him that badly, but he pulled him up, and a couple of times he kind of got in there and left a bit on the centre halves as well. Look, I'm not saying that they do it every game, or it's not a nice way, but when your back's to the wall or like that, you need to have that small bit of niggle. You need to bring it into the game. I thought that's what, like, they really needed Click to be able to bring that in midfield today, but he was really poor today. I thought
he was frustrated. He was written all over his face. I felt like he was a walking red card at times. I was waiting for him to get his second yellow out of frustration as well.
He looked injured. He didn't look like he was ready to play. He was off the pace, and he knew, like, his body. He's predicated an awful lot of his body carrying him around the field. He does an awful lot of unseen work, kind of like McGinn does for us, and just his industry around the field. But he just couldn't get into the positions today, and we weren't exactly attacking, so that maybe meant that he had to come forward a bit more. So when he wasn't breaking up play, he had to be. He was being tasked with being involved a small bit more, and it just didn't go right for him. But he got his yellow card for dragging back. I think it might have been McGinn, actually. I think he dragged back McGinn, and it took the referee ages to figure out who he was at one stage to try and book him. But yeah, they were frustrated. They absolutely were. But there was a couple of players, really, I must say, there's a couple of players that just didn't show up for them today. I think when they look back at their midfield three of Strike, Click, Roberts, and even Costa out there as well, they can't really have any complaints with regards to the result, because they were putting it all on Luke Ayling, and they were putting it all on Stuart Dallas, who didn't really play well either, and Rafina. So when you're pretty much carrying four passengers there in the middle of midfield, they weren't able to get any attacking flow going in the second half. That was really hamstrung them, should I say.
I've got to admit, I was quite happy to see Costa playing, to be honest, because I think Jack Harrison's twice the player of him from what I've seen of Leeds this season. So I was quite pleased to see him come in. You mentioned Ayling. In some ways, because El Ghazi was so good in the first half, it felt like Ayling was a bit reluctant to push forward in the manner that he normally does. And that's I think El Ghazi obviously got man of the match. And now we're looking at, when Jack's back, you've probably got to keep El Ghazi on the left, because you can't take him out after scoring again. I think that's the thing that dented his confidence. We've seen him come back and not quite look the player he was before that break. I think he's probably a little bit hurt that he was up for player of the month, scored 5 in 5 or 5 in 6 or whatever it was, and then he was just taken straight out. So really, it would be very cruel of Dean Smith to do that again, and probably unjustified.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I've got a cold heart with regards to that, but I think when you come in and you play in that left-hand side for Aston Villa, you got to know that it's never going to be your position until Aston Villa receive 150 million for Jack Grealish, because I think that, yes, if we go back to playing the regular formation that we have, but if we're playing a 4-3-3, I'm just not sure that you want to move Jack into the middle of midfield there. Like, for all the wonderful stuff Jack does, I think if you were to move him in there, you're just kind of playing him out of the. Well, you could put him on the right, I suppose. So yeah, it'd be interesting. But I wouldn't be moving him central in a 4-3-3, because I just don't think that you get the best use out of him. He'd be carrying the ball from too deep. It was one of the biggest things that we one of the biggest gripes I had about Aston Villa was that Jack Grealish last year was picking the ball up from his two centre halves. And this year that doesn't happen anymore. He's that out ball on the left hand side. So maybe you move him to the right and let him go wild down there as well. But as I say, it's going to be interesting. Look, it's one win, I suppose, with this formation. I don't know if it's here to stay, but we've kind of proven to ourselves that we can win without Jack Grealish, because commentators mentioned it a couple of times, and they got the slide dig in with it took Jack Grealish 21 Premier League games to win a Premier League game, and then they mentioned as well that that Villa hadn't won in the three outings that Villa had played without Jack Grealish in the Premier League. So we've won now without Jack Grealish, and it's also an interesting one as well when the whole one man band kind of comments did come. We're talking about El Ghazi as well in that aspect. He scored 7 goals, as you mentioned. Bertrand Traore scored 5.
5 or 6. Watkins is in double figures.
Yeah.
Defensively, we're very good. The goalkeeper is absolutely sensational. So Jack Grealish is the unbelievable. Jack Grealish is the talisman, but to label us a one-man team, like Dean Smith says, it's very disrespectful, because you look at what some of the players have done this season. I mean, I thought Conser and Mings, as they have been in many 1-0 away wins this season, when you think back to Leicester away, Southampton away, I mean, we
Yeah,
beat Arsenal at home 1-0. We've had a few tight 1-0 victories where we've gone to places and we've won 1-0. And Conser and Mings, just when Leeds did attack, they repelled it all. We are more than Jack Grealish. He's a huge miss when he doesn't play going forward, but we are more than Jack Grealish.
absolutely, absolutely. It's not like we're, and I don't want to put him up there with Messi or anything like that. But look, Barcelona are
Yeah, he's
Messi.
better, he's better than him. He's better than him.
He's Barcelona are Messi really at the moment. Messi off the field, Messi on the field, and it's with Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish makes us an ultimately better team, but we're showing that we've won today without him. But he's a creator. He's created an awful lot more for other players. But like realistically speaking, you could genuinely say that if Jack Grealish was in there today and we were missing Ali Watkins, whew, like you think about that performance today without Ollie Watkins and the amount of work he does up front. I shudder to think. I don't think Keenan Davis could do it. I don't know. Like if you play Jack maybe on the
Not for
left,
90 minutes. Not for 90
no.
minutes, he couldn't.
Or like if you play Jack on the left and Traore goes up front, he doesn't do that hassling or that chasing down or that tracking back from a middle position like that. So yes, obviously Jack Grealish is our talisman, but to say that that we're just a Jack Grealish team, I suppose, is a small bit disrespectful to the likes of Watkins, to the likes of our two centre halves and wheelbarrow hands himself, Martinez at the back
Oh,
in goals. He catches everything. He's just fantastic. My
he
God.
just takes the
And
pressure off. He just
ah,
takes the pressure. When he came and collected that set piece at the end, you'd say, okay, that's what a goalkeeper's supposed to do. But a lot of goalkeepers don't do that, and it
no,
just relieves the pressure instantly. You almost, when he starts coming, you just relax because you assume he's going to catch it before he's even got there.
it's just it's immense. That's the only word I can say. The commentators also alluded to the fact that I think he's only what one now. I don't know what they said, was he one or two away from Friedel's all-time record for Aston Villa
Two.
of 15. It's two
Yes, two.
now. That's just fantastic. And we've got look. I know that you can't take anything for granted in the Premier League, but you've got Sheffield United to come still. You've got a lot of teams there that you'd be targeting points for, to come. And when we're targeting points, hey, we might as well target clean sheets as well in certain aspects. Get him the record, because he's been our player of the season. Going back to Jack Grealish and everything. Emmy Martinez is going to sweep the boards in the in club awards at the end of the season because he's just been brilliant.
Yeah, it was a bit of a worry, wasn't it, when he wasn't taking his goal kicks? I mean,
Yeah.
as confident as you would be in Tom Heaton, who is also a fantastic goalkeeper. I mean, Villa's goalkeeper department, Martinez, Heaton, and Steer is a number 3 goalkeeper. I'd argue that's the strongest goalkeeping department in the Premier League.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Why not? Why not? All of them have Premier League experience. Tom Heaton is international experience. Emmy Martinez is doing what he's doing this season. He's second best goalkeeper in the league, I would say, after Ederson. But he does. Ederson has way more comfortable afternoons than Emmy Martinez does. So there's an
Yeah,
argument to be made there that you've got to, on the merits of it, that Emmy Martinez has been the better goalkeeper. But and Jed Steer, as I say, Jed Steer always goes up an extra 20% in Villa fans' hearts for that stare down. So yeah, look, it's great recruitment, absolutely fantastic recruitment again from the club. And I know that Sisu got his marching papers at the end of the season. But he's probably sitting somewhere in Spain at the moment with a nice Pinot Grigio, looking at the TV and looking at Villa, going, oh, it wasn't as bad as people thought. Maybe I wasn't as
no,
bad as people thought. But look, maybe he did his job for that year. He got us to what we needed with our bargain boys, and now that we've solidified it in the league, because I keep on going back to it every single time. Christian Purslow said at the Supporters Trust, I think it was AGM last year, that the likes of Crystal Palace and Bournemouth could outspend us because of the wages they can spend. So transfer money is one thing, wages are what will cripple a club, and you need to be in the league for 3 seasons to be able to get the checkbook out. So maybe Sisu came in and he was one of those guys that was just there to get those bargain pieces with his contacts. And now they've got more of a structure in place for something. But I don't know. It's just been fantastic, and those goalkeepers, as you say, those 3 goalkeepers have been nothing short of immense, and it's great to have that stable within the club.
yeah, I think Suso's reputation is probably intact. I do know that 2 or 3 of the players that we brought in that summer where we signed everyone, that they've got the same agent, so he obviously had some contacts, did some work in that side of things. But I think he can probably look back now and say, the players that have ultimately are squad players like Nakamba, like El Ghazi, they're worth the money, aren't they? Now you look back and Trezeguet even coming off the bench, you look at that now and you say, for the outlay, he's done very, very well. I'd like to speak a bit more about the game, Neil, but not much happened. It's very difficult to dissect the game. We probably did that in the first 5 minutes, to be honest, because not much happened. But you mentioned Sheffield United coming up next in midweek. It is the back-to-back wins that really help you in this league. They really move you up the table. It is a massive chance to do the double in Yorkshire and get another 3 points and make it a very good week going into the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of our games in hand that we need to win, because it's all well and good looking at those games at hand and saying we've got 1 game on Chelsea, 2 games on West Ham, in our pursuit of European football, but we should be beating Sheffield United like they're rocketed to the bottom of the table for a reason. Anything but a win there now would be seen as a failure, I think, by the team and by the fans itself. But we do need to break our midweek duck, because when we played the weekends on not a 3:00 kickoff, we just do our best business. So we need to go there this week and this Wednesday, or I think it's Wednesday, isn't it? And we need to get a result Wednesday from Sheffield United, because we then have, who's after that? Is it Spurs?
You know what? I can't even remember. I know we've got Newcastle coming up on a Friday, but absolutely the fixtures, it all just runs away with you a little bit. It all merges into one. I just go, I'm going to be a real amateur and get it up on my phone whilst we're talking, because I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, I think
we've got next weekend. So we've got Sheffield United Wednesday. We've got that right. And then it's Wolves, yes.
Wolves and Newcastle and Spurs, yeah. Wolves, Newcastle and Spurs. So look, hey, why not go away and win the next 3 games?
I mean, there's the games there where you look at them and say, you look at some games and you'll go, oh, that's a difficult run of fixtures. You look at that and think there's a chance to get some wins there. I mean, I'm sure Spurs and Harry Kane will probably start to get some form going just before we're about to play them. Wolves have been terrible for a number of weeks now, but they've started to pick up again and actually a lot closer to us than they were a few weeks ago now. So they're not going to be easy games, but they're winnable games, and that's what you want. Mind you, that's not saying that. Every game feels winnable with this Villa side. Today was actually one of the first times I've genuinely been worried about a game. I think it's because we weren't great last week. Grealish is injured. It kind of felt like there'd been a negative build-up on social media all week, as if we're this terrible side. But we're right in the Premier League, Neil, which is worlds away from where we would have expected to be with games in hand at this point of the season. It's been a magnificent season so far. And yes, we've lost games, but if you didn't lose games, we'd be top of the league, and quite frankly, that would be absolutely ridiculous. So, you know what? We're doing really well. We've shown what we're about today again. There's been a response, and like so many times when there's questions asked of this Villa side, they respond with a win, and that's good.
Especially when we score first, we win, save for the Burnley game. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And that's been, we now have a sample set of 24, 25 games. So that is definitely something to hang our hat on. There's that we don't need to be scared of we shouldn't go to teams and just sit back for the whole game. It gives us an opportunity to say, right, let's have a bit of a go in the first 10-15 minutes. If we nick a goal, we know we can defend. And if we don't nick a goal, that's fine. Everybody drag back and let's just play as if we did. And 0-0s are as good as, when you're at this end of the table, I suppose, really. And you're playing teams in and around you, like the Evertons, the Spurs, the West Hams, even and Leicester's. If you were to convert some of those games into 0-0s as opposed to 1-0 losses or 3-0 losses or whatever it is, they're extra points that you're not banking on at the start of the season. So, being able to defend is first and foremost is what this team is predicated on, I think, at the moment, and that stands to reason with Dean Smith, John Terry, and Richard O'Kelly there as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually almost better at defending when we're 1-0 up. If the game's 0-0 and in the balance, we'll probably concede 1 and 2 and go on. When we're 1-0 up, that's when you see the best of this Villa team, the best of the Villa defence. You've seen it so many times now. I think it's just an amazing trait to have, to be able to protect a lead like that and not have panic stations like Villa have had so many times in my lifetime, where you feel like they're going to chuck it away in stoppage time. As worried as you are a little bit, because it's only natural when you're 1-0 up going into stoppage time. You've compared to how I've been over the years, I'm actually really, really calm. And I just think there's so many good traits of this Villa side in the next few years. If we build in the right way, I think we're going to be a really, really exciting outfit, Neil. Neil, now you'll have seen on Twitter something that's obviously a bit more important than football. Henry the Brave, young Villa fan, battling cancer. I mean, he's had 18 months of horrendous, grueling treatment in New York, and he's got the all clear after all that. But they need to raise 163,000. Young Villa fan, as I say, at the time of doing this show, already 115,000 pounds has been raised to help Henry and pay for his treatment in New York, which is quite incredible. And I'm imagining the Villa fans have been heavily involved in that. So they've got something going at the moment called #QuidQuest, which is going all around the social media at the moment. Obviously, with Villa Park being empty, they've asked that everyone that would go to Villa Park, if everyone that would be at a game now, if fans were at games, donate £1. Obviously, that would be £42,640. If every Villa fan that would plan to go to a game could just donate £1, that would take them near or at the target. My maths isn't that great, let's be honest. So that would take them somewhere near where they need to be and pay for this amazing young lads treatment. As I say, young Aston Villa family obviously have been going through the mill the last few years. Henry as well, to be fighting this at such a young age and showing such character and looking so strong on the photos. I think that's an amazing thing. So yeah, I did post it on my Twitter earlier on in the day. I can't see the screen. I'm imagining it's flashed up in the screen while we've been talking. But if you check out their social media, that they're on Facebook under Fireman Henry, Twitter, they're Henry_the_brave. Instagram's exactly the same handle. So if you go on there, you'll get all the information you need. As I say, if everyone who planned to go to Villa Park could just donate £1, then I'd absolutely smash that target, and Henry would have that payment, that the money that he needs to pay for the treatment there, and it would be so massive for the family. So yeah, everyone in the Villa View will get a donation from the Villa View as well. Everyone from the Villa View wishes Henry and his family well in that quest, and hopefully the Villa fans can help out, because I know usually we're absolutely excellent at those things. Neil, thanks ever so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Need to just say that obviously over the last few weeks we have had a few technical issues, not just when Neil's here, we've just had them in general. We have actually invested in some new equipment that's coming next week, so we're hoping that's going to put an end to all the live feeds cutting out, because it has been a nightmare, and I'm going to be honest, it's not nice sitting on here not knowing whether you're going to be live or not. We're all obviously volunteers in the main. We come here, we give up our own time to talk about Villa and hopefully provide you with some form of entertainment after the games and during the week. So we have got a shop where if you were to buy mugs, posters, we do make a tiny little profit if you buy those little pieces of merchandise. That helps us with the need to buy things when we do need to buy things, so it doesn't come out of our own pockets. So yeah, just want to thank everyone for all the support they've given the channel so far this season, and thank people like Neil as well who come on and give their own time. I mean, there isn't much else that you could be doing at the moment, in fairness, Neil, but we thank you anyway for coming on. It's been an excellent evening. Everyone go have a few beers now and celebrate Villa winning on a Saturday night. There's still plenty of the night left, so stay safe, look after yourselves, up the Villa.